You will love this voicing of a major 7 or a minor 9. I'll show you two different versions of it. It's the same notes, it's just a little bit rearranged. I love this version. So I have on the D string 5, 5, 5, and then I've got 7 on the bottom there. Now I love that as a minor 9, which means A, right? Or I'll just play it there open just to let it ring out a little bit. Right, that's a nice little minor 9. Specifically listen to this E, the second string. All right. Now if I switch that and I put my root note as C, all right, it's a little weird, but I'll be able to get through it. Now listen to it. Much happier, right? Still has a little melancholy sound because that major 7 takes a little bit of that majory edge off, right? It just adds like a little bit of solemnness to it, but still getting that. You hear how that reacts with that C? That's the major 3rd, right? That has such a different presence now, right? It's such a different presence than now if I sort of go to, right, I get that A in there. Right, it's the 5th when I'm in A, so it has structurally a different sound and it won't have that sweetness. I love it up here as well, right? So now the G, right down here, we're just switching to up here on the 8th fret of the B string. Now I've got, starting on the high E, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, I can put an A in the bass. Same deal. Now that E note is on the G string there, right? Cool. Nice. A little easier to form if I switch it to, and that'll be my 5th, right? In A minor 9. That E note where my ring finger is my 5th. If I switch it, pretty easy to get that C in the bass there, right? Even if I kind of get that key, kind of really ring it out now. Just has that sweetness of that major 3rd. Right, and it depends, you know, what it is that you're playing and what it is that you want to sort of bring out to light. You know, if I'm playing something in C major, you know, that works. If I want to sort of numb this out a little bit, I'll add that major 7 in there. Right? It takes just that super brightness and just brings it down a little bit. A very visual reason for that is if I play this major 7, 8, I'm gonna deaden that A string out. So 8, 9, 9, 8, and then nothing on the bottom string there. Right? Pretty common form of like a C major 7. Now, what's really happening there is I have this E minor triad right there in the chord. It's like an E minor triad over a C. Not really, because it's a C major 7, but that just shows us we have a minor triad within that C major, right? And that's sort of like theoretically, in a sense, we can sort of understand why that major 7 sort of takes a little bit of the edge and a little bit of the brightness out. So if I don't want that super brightness, and I want to go for something that's not dark, but just turns the shade on a little bit, right? Dims the light a little bit. On a major, I'll do that. Watch out if you are resolving too. I mean, one of the biggest resolving factors going from the 5 chord, the dominant is the 7 to the root note, like the B to the C. The B in the dominant chord in the G chord to the C. Now, if I want to resolve to a C, right, but I give it that major 7, that 7 is still there, so the resolution isn't going to be quite as strong. Just something to think about. So, it's saying, wherever I am up there. So that's the functionality of a major 7, as far as like whatever you're composing there. Minor 9, I love it. It actually, I personally think it brings the darkness down a little bit more, where if I have a minor, right? If I add the flat 7 and make it a minor 7, it doesn't bring it into a more minor sound until I think I add the 9. But now the minor 7, a pure minor, has a much darker sound to me. I feel like we just take a little bit of a step. I don't even want to say brighter, right? It just doesn't quite have such a daunting emotional sound, right? And it's almost the same idea, right? I sort of have this C major 7, or C major, I'm sorry, triad, right in that A minor 7, right? The only thing is now, if I add that 9 in there and I give it an A minor 9, that to me gives it, now we're back into a little bit more of an emotionally daunting sound, and really it's that, right, the minor 3rd reacting with that 9, and of course it's always going to sort of want to pull down and resolve, and then another really cool way to do that is, can you get the 9 and the minor 3rd to interact with each other, right? And this is definitely a darker way to do it. If I have my A minor, and if I can do this and bring that octave right where my pinky is up 2 frets, right now I have, this is very tricky on this guitar, right? That's my C and my B right there, and they sort of interact that way with each other. That's definitely going to give you a much darker sound of that sort of minor 9. That takes the 7 out of it, and it really lets that 9 and half step up to the minor 3rd interact with each other. What is really interesting too is when we take in the minor 9, when we take the 7 out and we just have, it's really just sort of like a minor add 2. There's a bunch of different ways to write that out. People will still write minor 9 sometimes if there is no flat 7 in it. But that flat 7 also, the way it interacts, it's a major 3rd from the flat 7 to the 9. So sometimes when you have just an A minor with the 9 there, right? I'm not going to play the flat 7. We can get a dark sound. And then if I add that flat 7 in there, since it softens up with that 9 by adding a major 3rd, or if I like sort of get it there. There we go. Right, so really interesting ways to stack these chords. I just wanted to give you something cool to work with, looking at chords, and I always love looking at chords and their relatives, and how to use them. I love that. I think it's in the intro of In Memory of Elizabeth Reed, right? Isn't it? Right? Is it? I think it is. Someone can comment and say, absolutely not, you buffoon, or yeah, it is, but it's when it's in A minor, that sort of idea, right? I've always loved that, sort of being able to mess around with it. It's a really cool thing would be like if somebody was playing a higher part, and you're like, what am I going to hear? Cool. Right? But what if that was the intro and then, right, do same voicing up top, and then what's going on down there at the bottom is what's really going to give us the sound, that we're looking for, that we want to make, So just some cool minor 9, the major 7 ideas. Hope you like it. Any questions? Ask below. I know some of this theory stuff, depending on where you are, right? I'm not assuming somebody watching this can't blow my socks off as far as like they're playing. But if you made it this far, hopefully you learned something, and it's not like too far, ahead of where you are. And if it is, it won't take me long to explain. some of the theory stuff to you. So thank you, and I will see you guys soon.